Trump sent his carrier to flex its muscles off Iran's coast, but it stopped exactly 1,000 kilometers away, as if something in the shadows had forced it to keep its distance. It wasn't a storm, nor was it an explicit threat from Tehran, but a strange silence crept into the deployment maps, forcing the largest ship in the US Navy to reposition, as if already under threat, without a single shot fired. But the mystery didn't last long. In Pentagon briefings, buried between lines of classified updates, a single name surfaced: Fatah-2, the beast of Iran's missile silos, and the 1,000-kilometer radius now off limits to American carriers. So what is this missile that triggered such concern and compelled Trump to avoid even approaching Iranian waters? And does Fatah-2 truly have the capability to sink an American aircraft carrier? That's what we will uncover in this episode. Stay tuned. Fatah-2 is no ordinary ballistic missile. It represents the most advanced generation of Iranian weaponry, built on the concept of hypersonic glide vehicle design. The missile is launched from fixed platforms deep inside reinforced underground silos, giving it significant protection against preemptive strikes and enabling Tehran to carry out launches in highly controlled, surprise conditions. Fatah-2 measures approximately 12 meters in length, with a total weight exceeding 4 tons. It uses a solid fuel propulsion system, allowing for rapid launch without the need for complex logistical infrastructure. The missile follows a two-stage flight profile, both stages powered by solid fuel. In the first stage, the booster rapidly propels the warhead into the upper atmosphere. Once it reaches the required altitude, this stage separates and the glide phase begins, ushering in a completely different kind of trajectory. During this second phase, the missile transforms into a hypersonic glider, traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 13, no longer following a predictable ballistic arc. It shifts direction and altitude mid-flight, striking from angles that conventional defense systems are not designed to intercept. The unpredictable behavior makes tracking and intercepting Fatah-2 a daunting task, even for the most advanced air defense networks. Fatah-2 relies on an inertial navigation system and is reportedly capable of activating an optical or radar seeker in the final phase of flight, allowing for high-precision terminal guidance before impact. The missile has an operational range of over 1,500 kilometers and carries a conventional warhead exceeding 450 kilograms of high explosive payload. According to Iranian estimates, the missile boasts a circular error probable of just tens of meters, making it ideal for eliminating hardened, fixed targets with surgical accuracy. But it doesn't stop there. With accurate real-time targeting data, Fatah-2 could become a serious threat to large naval assets, such as aircraft carriers and amphibious assault ships. Perhaps this is precisely why US carriers now avoid coming within 1,000 kilometers of Iran's shores, because testing this missile in real combat could spell the sudden end of American naval supremacy in the region. Fatah-2 and the sinking scenario. This question is never asked publicly, but in Pentagon war rooms, it's a waking nightmare. On paper, Fatah-2 has everything that terrifies naval strategists: hypersonic speed that can breach layered defenses in seconds, a non-ballistic flight path that renders radar tracking unreliable, and extreme maneuverability that makes interception nearly impossible. But it wouldn't strike alone. The most dangerous scenario envisioned by Tehran begins with a swarm, suicide drones launched in waves, followed by low-flying cruise missiles skimming the sea surface, accompanied by electronic warfare attacks to blind and jam defensive systems. In the chaos of that storm, Fatah-2 descends from above, traveling 10 kilometers per second, diving toward the carrier like a meteor no one can stop. Aircraft carriers are built to absorb punishment, but not but a direct precision strike on the flight deck, the bridge, or internal fuel and ammunition storage. Just one hit, delivering half a ton of explosives at over Mach 15 could disable the ship, ignite uncontrollable fires, and knock it out of combat within the first minute of engagement. And in this scenario, the goal isn't total destruction, but humiliation. A warship that cost over $13 billion forced to retreat in flames, broadcasted to the world by satellite, a moment that could terrify every US ally across the Gulf. What hasn't been revealed about Fatah 2? In truth, everything announced so far is exactly what Iran wants its enemies to know. The specifications are public, yes, but the most critical details remain shrouded. There are no clear images of the warhead, no footage of the terminal guidance seeker, no documentation of a live first test against a real target. The US military has made no official comment, but in leaked intelligence briefings, one description stood out. The weapon you can confirm is always the most dangerous. The real threat then may not be in what's known, but in what Iran hasn't shown. And this is the question that continues to haunt Pentagon analysts. Is there a naval variant of Fatah 2? Is it already being tested in fortified sites near the Gulf of Oman? Has it been integrated into external targeting networks capable of tracking moving ships? The missile appeared suddenly, at a highly sensitive moment, and then vanished from the media. It wasn't used in the 12-day conflict, almost as if its debut wasn't meant to showcase power, but to send a message. We have enough, but we haven't started yet. And until the full version of the missile is revealed, every US aircraft carrier approaching the Strait of Hormuz will hesitate before crossing into a range where Fatah might already be waiting. Fatah 2: The Dark Side. Despite the fanfare surrounding the unveiling of Fatah 2, some critical questions remain unanswered. There is still no verified footage of the glide phase in action, no proven strike on a moving or hardened target, and the majority of available visuals are limited to mock-ups, animations, or promotional clips. While the missile has undoubtedly caused concern among Iran's adversaries, it's natural for military analysts to question its actual operational readiness, especially under the stress of real-world combat against naval targets. This isn't skepticism for its own sake, but part of understanding whether the system has genuinely crossed the line between announcement and battlefield reality. And while the warhead is certainly large enough to destroy fixed installations, it may not be sufficient to sink a ship the size of the USS Lincoln unless it hits a critical vulnerability with near-perfect accuracy under live fire conditions. In that sense, the most dangerous thing about Fatah 2 may not be its destructive potential, but the possibility that it's still incomplete, released for psychological effect before it's fully combat ready. And now, the question is yours, dear viewer. Do you believe the next war will witness the first real-world use of Fatah 2 against an American aircraft carrier? Tell us in the comments.